This is a statement about PayUp legislation in Seattle, but it's a statement to the city from Grubhub. And if you're saying, well, Grubhub's got that like little minimal share of any market, we don't really know I don't know what their share of Seattle is of the delivery market. We know it's little share in pretty much every market, but nonetheless, this is how it applies to all of the companies the same. They're just writing from their perspective, and you'll understand that when you hear it. So try and think of it as Uber Eats or DoorDash writing this as well. And everybody that is familiar, again, big difference between a transparency bill like we have here without any kind of money attached, and then the monetary problem ones. Prop 22, huge issue right now. We'll get into a little bit of the unionization. All of that slipped because of, again, the money. When you put money, you really screw it up. Especially like the California one saying that 120% of minimum wage. Well, the reason the Supreme Court's okay with that staying the way that is because it doesn't say 120% of $16 to $19 and whatever it is in San Francisco per hour. It says 120% of minimum wage. So that will float with time. So I think, that's another whole long story, but let's do this first. I want to talk about this Seattle PayUp because we're not going into the $15 million thing because I did just talk about that in the last podcast. But again, let's just real quickly remind, this isn't even that story. This is a different story about how badly the performance is for the delivery platforms, as well as how it's not sustainable. Even in the most expensive market now, all of them have said it publicly. Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub have all said that Seattle, hands down, is the most expensive market to operate in. So let's get into this. So this is what they're saying. At the start of 2024, despite warnings from gig worker groups like Drive Forward, Seattle's PayUp ordinance was passed. The law promised $26.40 an hour before tips for drivers, which is obviously almost $6.50 more than their minimum wage. Their minimum wage is really high in the city of Seattle. It is $19.97. That is their minimum wage for not gig work. But so this wasn't a number, unlike the 120%, this was just a number they came up with, $26.40 an hour. And I remember there was a huge surge of people because they thought this one was different than Prop 22, or they still thought Prop 22 meant you got that much money just for turning on the app. We're all talking about the fake unit of time. And even these type of things leave it out for active time. Active time. Active time is controlled by the platform that you are hating against and you don't want to ever work for. So that you're trying to force their hand to do something in a business sense. And then you want to give them even more, like you're pissed you're not getting enough orders. Why would you want to give them the keys to the car then that is going to supply any and every order you get? You're giving them more control. So anyway, the law, the PayUp model was $26.40 an hour is what they have to be paid in a Prop 22 style. These get screwed up. Now, fast forward to 2025, it's clear the law has created a whole set of unintended consequences. Grubhub's data shows that the law has hurt drivers' earnings, increased wait times, and posed serious challenges for restaurants and customers alike. If you guys are wondering, like, well, why are we listening to what Grubhub says? This is the kind of stuff I've already talked about 50 times with you guys, from different articles and different points of view, and they all sync up. But this is the company just speaking openly. It's not about just the numbers. They're just being open. And this is what seems to be the common vibe about it all. Again, it's one of those things where like 1% of the people in Seattle wanted PayUp. The rest of the people just didn't even know about it. And this becomes my concern with a lot of things. If you don't know about it, it's just as bad as being on board with it, because when they talk to their lawmakers and such like that, fewer orders, struggling restaurants, and frustrated customers. The ripple effects of PayUp are being felt throughout the delivery ecosystem in Seattle. Orders continue to decrease, which means drivers are seeing few opportunities to earn. And again, we're talking about one standpoint here, but this is everybody. I mean, this is everybody. This is all the platforms. They all have the same sentiment for sure. For small independent restaurants, the heart of Seattle's food scene, challenges can be particularly tough. With rising costs and shrinking demand, many are navigating tighter margins and working hard to adapt. Customers aren't escaping unscathed either. Longer wait times and a higher cost for delivery platforms to operate in Seattle are making the service less convenient and less affordable. While some drivers are earning more per delivery, the cost increases associated with implementing PayUp have put many customers off from ordering. Fewer orders, coupled with unregulated numbers of drivers on the road, means that drivers are waiting much longer between deliveries. And that wait time continues to increase in PayUp's second year. At the same time, diners are waiting longer for their food, and restaurant partners are processing fewer orders, indicating that all sides are feeling the strain under the new pay standard. This is a good little statistic here for you. You guys ready for this one? On average, Grubhub drivers in Seattle are waiting about 110 minutes longer for the next delivery opportunity. That's an easy stat to run. Just who's on the platform, how often are they getting orders in between? I mean, 110 minutes longer. So that year to year, that's a 578% increase in wait time. While they may be earning more for the delivery opportunities they do receive, these opportunities are coming less and less, therefore eating away at potential earnings. When we factor in total earnings per online hour, so that's real time. This is when it gets all confusing, man. Can we just talk about real time? That's the time spent on the app or with the app on, or however you want to define it. So drivers' earnings on average are 36% less than they were before PayUp. So far, not one damn thing PayUp has done that it said it would, and it's hurting the restaurant partners, the customers, and the drivers, and the company, and the city of Seattle. I mean, they say they're up to like $10 million in lost revenue on the online platforms in 8 months into the year. People come into town, they go to events. That says a lot. I know that people like to go out too, but it says a lot about a town like, it's especially a town like Seattle. You can't do this kind of breakdown in every city and take it as the same stats. This is a city where these platforms are majorly used, and I mean, there's just people aren't using them. That's the bottom line. So what was supposed to stabilize earnings has instead created more unpredictability. Drivers are left waiting for jobs to come through, and the waiting time is taking a big bite out of their earnings. A hidden hit to the driver earnings. If you think it couldn't get worse, think again. Tips, a major part of the driver earnings, have dropped over 30% per delivery. So the average tip in pre-PayUp was $6.20, and the average tip post-PayUp legislation is $4 per delivery. Customers are already feeling the squeeze from the policy environment in Seattle that has made delivery more expensive. Unfortunately, that means customers are tipping less or not tipping at all, putting even more financial pressure on drivers who depend on those tips to make ends meet. Drivers receive 100% of their tips for completed deliveries. So the decrease in tips directly impacts their take-home pay, really. While Seattle's PayUp hasn't gone as planned, Seattle's PayUp law hasn't gone as planned. Not while, it's important. Law hasn't gone as planned. Now's the time for the city of Seattle to hit pause and rethink their approach. We need a solution that balances fair compensation for drivers with a sustainable, efficient system that works for everybody, drivers, restaurants, and customers alike. At Grubhub, we're committed to collaborating with policymakers and other stakeholders to find a solution that benefits all parties. It's time for a more thoughtful, holistic approach that keeps the delivery ecosystem thriving. That and the end couple of sentences could have gone, but that's just how they end them. I don't know, you guys. So PayUp's failed. I mean, what are you going to do? There's not one stat in here, and they're not just listing the ones that aren't worthy. There's not one stat in here nothing about any of the people, drivers, customers, restaurant partners, business, and the city of Seattle. All are losing because of this.